What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing great today. My name is Guillaume. This is Thoman's Guitars and Basses, and I'm really excited today to be talking to Emily Wolfe. If you're not familiar with her, I'll drop a bunch of links in the description box down below. But she's an immense singer-songwriter, a great guitar player with really good taste for gear and fuzz, and she's just got a signature guitar with Epiphone. So a lot of exciting things coming up just now. Awesome. Right, Emily, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really good, really good. I'm really excited to finally meet you, even through a screen. That's still very cool. And
Likewise.
I have to start up by saying that I've been a really big fan of your sound and of your songs, and I really dig what you do. So
Thanks. I'm
this is
so glad.
awesome. This
That
is
means
really
a
awesome,
lot. Thanks.
and I can't wait to get into the nitty gritty side of things with you.
Yeah,
Starting obviously with the guitar, because if we're here today, it's because it's only a couple of days away from the big release,
it is.
and you're getting your own Epiphone signature guitar. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's pretty amazing. I'm still
You
kind of
still,
dumbfounded by it, but it's like it's amazing. It's been a dream since I was a little girl, so it's cool that it's happening now.
yeah. Do you realize that it's happening? Like, do you already like foresee a bunch of kids picking up your guitar in stores and playing them and putting stuff on Instagram and all?
That's it. That's you know what? I hadn't thought of that, but
Oh man, I'm
now that you
sorry.
bring it up, no,
I'm,
it's like it's the coolest because
yeah,
I mean, if anything, like I remember going to all these different retail stores and picking up guitars, and my mom would take me when I was little, and she's like, "Okay, which one do you want to try out?" I'm like, "That one." So it's really cool to think about, um, kids and teens and adults and all types of people
yeah.
wanting to try this guitar because it really, I mean, honestly, like I'm not just saying this. This is like it's my dream guitar and it's cool that my name's on it and I I'm just really grateful and stoked about it. So
That is awesome. I'm really stoked as well. I have so many questions on the guitar, among other things, but we're going to get started with the guitar, right?
cool.
Because you're a prominent and very tasteful user of fuzz, and I'm a fuzz freak. I absolutely love what you do with it.
Thanks.
But I also know that fuzz is a bit of a, tricky kind of friend, right? He likes to
For
see
sure.
pickups, but he doesn't like to see all pickups.
Hmm.
So I was wondering, how did that factor into you choosing what was going in there? And, how does that work?
Right. So I have always been a huge fan of humbuckers, and I know that there's like natural compression that comes with
Yeah,
humbuckers. But there's something about the neck pickup that I love that goes so well with the fuzz that I use. And so these are Alnico Pro classic Epiphone humbuckers, both
all right,
in the neck
yeah.
and the bridge. And it's funny because a lot of guitar players out there are like, oh man, like I'm never on the neck pickup. Why are you on the neck pickup all the time? I'm like, because of the sustain. Like, it's
These
amazing. Like,
people haven't lived. These
they,
people haven't lived.
they haven't lived. You're right. And there's something too about the harmonic content. Like, if it's okay, I'll show you.
Oh, yes, please.
So, so I'm on the neck pickup right now. That's just kind of the dry drive tone that I use. And I've got an OCD cranked up pretty high.
Yeah.
But if you throw on an octave pedal in front of it, it adds this crazy upper octave that's like, so without it, it's like that's without it. And then with it. And that only comes out of the neck pickup for me. And
Yeah.
like it's, on the bridge, it's really bitey and I like that too. But there's something about being on the neck pickup of a humbucker that brings out this like really visceral kind of fuzz tone.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I wanted humbuckers, no doubt, because traditionally they're in 335 guitars. But with this one, I just wanted like a mean sounding kind of like a natural humbucker, and Epiphone did a great job with putting these in there. So it's and there was a I had like a road test and the first prototype had higher output pickups on um, the guitar, and
Like
so I
buzzbucker kind of a thing.
yeah, it was so these are 1 and 2, so they're lower output,
Yeah,
but on
yeah,
the prototype there were 2 and 3, which are higher output.
yeah, yeah.
And I was road testing it. I was out on the road when shows were a thing. They're gonna come back, I know it. But
Back in the day.
yeah, back in the day. And I didn't realize this, but diamond F holes resonate differently than regular F holes. And so there was a
Right.
lot of, yeah, there's a lot of feedback that came out, and it was kind of squealy. And so I went back to the guys at Epiphone and I was like, what can we do to change this? And they were like, let's do lower output pickups. And at first I was like, oh, that doesn't sound mean enough. But when you, it's like less is more almost. I'm so happy with the result. I think a lot of people are going to be happy with it because you can go really clean with them. But if you put on the right pedals, you can get
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
gnarly.
definitely. That's something that you can easily lose track of if you really want to go into like the gritty, gnarly kind of sounds. Is that you can get an easier cleanup as soon as you go into like medium sort of output humbuckers and even low output humbuckers, and you have such a bigger range to work with, which yeah,
Yeah.
again like suits you very well. It's funny that you
Thanks.
mentioned the F holes as well because I've been really intrigued. I know, you know, the Trini Lopez and Dave Grohl models are pretty much the only ones that I've seen with the diamond F holes. So is that where that's coming from for you as well?
For sure. I mean, I've come into the Gibson showroom so many times and seen a Trini Lopez and a Dave Grohl, and I'm like, oh my God, those Diamond F holes are
Yes.
incredible. And I want those on mine. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just, I knocked it
Yeah,
off.
as you should.
But, you know, the thing is, like, there isn't an Epiphone out there with
That's true.
Diamond F holes. And so I wanted to bring that to the table for Epiphone players and make it an affordable, accessible thing. And so, yeah, I think I'm pretty excited because it hasn't been seen before on the Epiphone shelf. And so, um, yeah,
That's
it was definitely inspired by Trini and the Grohl
I
model.
didn't even think about that. That's true. That is the first Epiphone with diamond heifels. I don't know. I don't know why
Yeah.
that is, but I'm glad that is now.
Yeah, me too.
Because they look like they have that almost too aggressive look for a guitar that's very classical looking, very elegant, and you have that
Yeah.
sort of balance in between. I think it just looks incredible. So that's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm so glad.
Okay, let's just keep going on specs for a little bit because that is the big news. What
Yeah.
else? What else is going on with the guitar?
I love the neck. It's a 60s slim taper C neck, and it's I've never played anything this fast before because it's got that like almost matte
Yeah.
finish on the back of the neck. The whole guitar is pretty much a matte like finish. It's black aged gloss.
Oh, nice. That rubs
Um,
so well with time.
it
Like, oh
does.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's great and it feels really good to play. And so there's that. There is also something a little unique here. It's a three-way toggle switch. So if you can see here, there's no fourth knob.
Oh, true.
So yeah, and honestly, it's because on my original Sheraton, I can't like when I
Yeah.
the way I hold it on my body, I can't reach that knob
Right.
anyway. And I was like, well, just take it off, and that way I only got three knobs to really worry about for tone. And so, it's a master tone knob for both, but
That's
it's
awesome.
still really flexible, and you can get some interesting stuff out of it.
You know what? That is like I'm not lying to you. This is my Les Paul 55 by Epiphone. Three knobs.
Oh
I took out
wow,
the last one.
that's awesome! There you go. That's so
I
cool.
feel that. I absolutely feel that.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was a little hesitant about it because I was like, well, I'm sure like maybe I'll want to have, that fourth knob as an option for tone. And then I realized, well, like I don't ever go to that knob.
Yeah.
That's just how the way I play. So why not just take it off and have it be three and it be like a cool kind of design. So yeah, there's that. And then the hardware is airbrushed gold and it's aged as well. So, and I know like a lot of times with gold hardware, it can start to like over time, it can start to look not super appealing. But there's something about the way that they designed this color that it's
Yeah.
gonna age really well over time. So the longer you have
Nice.
it, the better it's gonna look.
I've always liked the way it flaked off like progressively and just
Yeah.
same with the the gloss that you're gonna end up having where you rest your arm on the guitar and everything. I just really like that. I think it's
Yeah,
awesome.
me too.
Um, question. I did see that when you did your rig rundown, you had the prototype with you
I
last
did.
summer, I think. What happened to the signature? Is the signature still here?
Signature's still there. It is just
Nice.
in black.
All right.
I'll show it to you if I can get my cords all not tangled, but it's gonna be pretty hard to see. But it's on there.
Right.
The wolf
Yeah.
is still on there in gold.
Nice.
But my signature is in like a shiny black. So you can't see it unless you're really looking for it. And I did that because I wanted to have my name on it somewhere, but I didn't want it to interfere with whoever's buying it.
Yeah.
Because to me, like I want this guitar to be the same thing that it was for me for whoever else owns it. And to me, that's like it's mine. It feels like a part of me. And so if somebody's going to buy it, I want it to feel like theirs as well. Um, so that's kind of why I didn't put any any really bold type of signature on the front. It's very hidden, but it's still there.
I like
So
that.
yeah, yeah, I like it. So yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, it can be a little bit odd. I never really got into signature models mostly because of that. There's usually like
Mhm.
a very obnoxious, it's not your guitar, it's somebody else, but you get
Right.
to play it.
Yeah,
And I like that take on it because it's here still, and
yeah,
if you wanna, you can see it, but otherwise it's just a guitar, and it's a great guitar.
exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, Okay. I was wondering as well if you had tried maybe different types of bridges, and by that I mean, did you ever consider like Bigsby or that kind of stuff on that guitar or not?
No, I love a Bigsby, but the design for this guitar that I really wanted to stay true to is no pick guard, no Bigsby, just the straight up
Yeah.
humbuckers and knobs. And to me, like the way I play, I guess with the side of my palm right here, excuse
Yeah.
me, it can get in the way, especially if I'm
Yeah.
doing like bends, and I feel like I play a lot with the knobs, like especially
Yeah. Yeah.
the volume knobs. So like I didn't want to put a Bigsby on this one. But I do love a Bigsby. So
Right. That's cool. Did we talk about all the features? Did we? No. Oh, maybe frets. That's something a lot of people ask about usually. So what are we looking at? Is it medium?
yep, they're 22 medium jumbo frets.
Nice.
And they feel really natural. They sometimes if you play a guitar with medium jumbos, it kind of feels like they get in the way of a little bit of a slide, but I honestly
Mm.
don't even notice them. So it's really easy to play, and it feels just so correct. But yep, medium jumbo frets, and the inlays also are lightning bolts. So at
Oh
the
wow.
12th, yeah,
I
at the
didn't even see that.
yeah, they're I mean, it's just like another kind of salute to electric guitar and how vibrant it can be.
Yeah.
And that was actually the idea of my Gibson rep, Cody Allen. And she's right over there. But
All right.
she's like, "What about lightning bolt inlays?" I was like, "Let's do it." So anyway, that's pretty much the neck is Indian laurel, and it's pretty much as close to rosewood as you can get, and
Yeah.
but it's really fast. Some people I feel like complain about how rosewood is slower, but Indian laurel's right in the middle to me, and so
Yeah.
it's it's something really special, I think.
Yeah. I'm Team Rosewood 100%, but I like that, a lot of companies have been heading that direction as well, and
Yeah.
using engine roll is going to make it a lot easier on anyone trying to fly that guitar anywhere in the future as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Great.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about music a little bit because that's the end game for that guitar.
Yeah.
Your last album is 2019,
Uh-huh.
2019, which was
2019.
the first self-titled album. What have you been working on since? Can we expect anything coming out this year, maybe? Or
Absolutely. Actually, yes, this year I've got new music coming out. I've got a new album coming out, and I'm really excited about it. There's guitar on every song, but I will tell you, I will tell you that it's more based on a well-crafted song than it is on a guitar solo. Because I learned a lot from the producer, and basically, basically, the idea behind it was, okay, you can play guitar on stage, you can shred, that's cool. But honestly, like a lot of people can do that. However, can you craft a good song that's got the arrangement, the lyrics, the music, everything that encompasses a classic song that's going to stand the test of time? Like, can you do that? And I was like, well, I can try. And so that was the attempt on all the songs on this record. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be hopefully something that catapults things into a next level. And yeah, I'll just say expect new music soon.
that is awesome. I'm really excited to hear that and looking forward to it. And I'll keep my fingers crossed for the catapulting and all of that
Thanks.
stuff. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good segue. I wanted to talk about your influences as well, not only as a guitar player, but maybe as a songwriter, because
Mhm.
what did struck me in your music so far, there is so much of everything. Like I heard some like straight up rock. I heard some Americana, almost kind of country-ish stuff. There was some grunge. There's a bit of everything. So what does your Spotify playlist looks? What does it look like now?
That's a good question. Right now, it's Queens of the Stone Age, which
Classic.
always and forever it will be. They're my favorite band. Um, a lot of pop music, Ariana
Yeah.
Grande, Demi Lovato,
Right
and
on.
I'm not ashamed to say. I mean,
You
because I
should
think
be.
pop is just always relevant to me. And if I'm gonna look at a great, well-crafted song, that's the first place I go is pop.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the arrangement of a pop song? And then I'll go to rock, and then I'll be like, what are the elements of a rock song that I can put into that arrangement? And then I'll go to BB King and be like, what kind of stuff can I pull from his um, repertoire
Yeah.
and put into that? So all the songs are pretty much, uh, I guess it's like an influence of pop, rock, and blues that all come together. Basically, so my mom and dad, when I grew up, my dad played classic rock. He played like the Who and the Eagles and um, Tommy James and the Shondells. And we would go out and wash his car every Saturday, and he would blast this music. And so I had that in my brain. And then my mom, I would go inside after washing the car, and she would have on Motown. Like one half of my brain had rock in it, and the other half had pop sensibility in it. Because if you look at Motown songs, the first like 20 seconds, 10, 20 seconds, the hook starts off immediately and it hooks you in. And so to me, my goal with songwriting is to cross those two streams and take elements of rock and my favorite blues players like BB King and Albert King and basically twist all those elements together to create a song that makes me feel like I accomplished something and got something out therapeutically, and then also engages a listener. So that's the goal for me with songwriting.
That's awesome. That's the way it is. You know, you take whatever you like here and there, and you try and mix and match all of that together and make something original. So I really
Totally.
like that. How has that process sort of evolved since 2019 and maybe in the writing process of your new upcoming record?
Right. So up until this point, I've had like steps that I take when I write a song. It's like I'll
Yeah.
feel something uncomfortable, and it's like, oh my god, I need to write a song. I'll sit down, and it'll always start with guitar, and I'll try and write a riff or music, and then out of that comes like vocal gibberish. So that's step two. It's like, okay, what kind of phonetics sound right with this music?
Yeah.
And then step three for me was always like, okay, make this gibberish into real words. Um, and so up until this year, I took those three steps. And then this year I met my producer for this record and he taught me so much about music and he taught me a fourth step and a fifth step. And I was like, oh my God, there's more steps here. So the fourth step is, okay, take all these words that you made and turn them into a story and make them make sense. And so that step I hadn't really previously thought of because in my previous records, like, yeah, I made these words and I did make a story, but they didn't necessarily, like, you couldn't look at the song like a printout of the lyrics and necessarily they wouldn't really make sense
Right.
as a story. So the fourth step I started to take in this next record. And then the fifth step, he was like, okay, fine tune every single word. Like, you've got to make sure every single word is killing. And so there are these other steps that I learned as a songwriter from him. And I think now I've got the tools to really run with that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the process. It's kind of funny to think of it that way as in steps, though, because songwriting is
I
such
mean,
a emotional thing. And it's like, there's a point now where I'm like, okay, I put all my heart into this. Now I need to put my brain into it.
yeah.
So that's kind of how it's changed.
No, that it's true. It's such like a emotional burst process kind of a thing, and if you don't stop to look at it and make sure that it's just a whole like emotional mess of a bunch of words and a bunch of notes, and there you go. That's the song. It's
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
something that you already answered the next one because that's something I like to ask as well. If people, mostly guitar players, that said, have the music come first in their mind or have the lyrics, and you did just say that.
Hmm.
For you, it always starts with the guitar.
Always. And I've tried to write a song by doing the lyrics first. And I do really envy songwriters who can do that. But I can't do it. It's not the way I write. And so, because to me, I mean, the music of a song is the absolute foundation of it. And it's my job as a writer to build off of that. And that's always kind of how I've seen songwriting. You know, a lot of times people can sit down with a piece of paper and write out what they're feeling
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
But I have to use music to figure out how I'm feeling.
yeah.
And so, that's I've taken a different kind of avenue that way. But yeah, it's always guitar, and I've tried to do piano, to write a song with piano, and it's so much harder for me. And then drums, like sometimes drums, like a cool drum beat can
Yeah,
open up a song in me, but the most connected I feel to an instrument is when I have a guitar.
that completely makes sense. Right on. Let's just jump back into gear a little bit because we've
Yeah.
talked about the guitar. Is there any new piece of gear that went into the creation and is into the creation of the new record? We found new sounds, new inspiring fuzz pedals or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, there were a ton of pedals that I used and that we looked through and tried. And there's something interesting though, because prior to this record, I was always against having a compressor pedal. Always. I was like,
Yeah,
why would I need a compressor if there's natural compression in my humbuckers and the front of house person is always putting compression? Why would I need that? And why would I want to take the dynamics out of my guitar? But then through this process of the record, there was always a compressor pedal on, and I was like, oh my God, this is like great. Because it's just like, it's something, there's something about, and for me, like I can't hear it. I'm not very good at hearing compression, but I can feel it. So a compressor pedal is something that I've really gotten into. And there's something called the JHS Whitey Tidy, which
Yes.
I've been using, and it's
Yeah.
like it's a FET compressor, and it's the closest thing to um I think it not 1176, I think.
I think so. Phil might be able to tell you,
Yeah,
yes, that's it. I
yeah,
think that is.
I think it is. But we always had that on too, and I was like, oh my god, the attack is so fast.
Yeah.
And so basically now I've got that JHS pedal in like always on in the front of my pedal board. And there's something else too, and I've always loved a carbon copy delay.
Yeah.
But there's a song on my new record called LA New York, and it's very based on this certain delay setting on a carbon copy, and I'll show you. So
Yes.
without it, so if I put it on, you've got this crazy like kind of feedbacky thing that is rhythmic. So I played a lot with delay, and
Yes.
like rhythmic delay, and so that's something too. And I don't currently have the pedal with me that was on every song. I should have brought it with me, but it's called the MXR Q Zone, and
Oh,
it's this very Queens of the Stone Age sound,
yeah.
which I wanted a lot of that for the guitar on this record. So it's interesting because I've got like this pop production of all these rock songs. And so it was cool to mix that guitar sound, and it's like this very like mid-range honky kind of thing,
Yeah.
but it's really aggressive. And so I use that a lot too. It's mainly pedals, and then I mean I tried a bunch of different guitars on this record, but this one won out on every song.
Really?
And
Yeah.
really, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is great news.
Yeah.
It's great news. But it just sounded so, it was, this guitar sounded exactly how, what I was hearing in my head.
Yeah.
This guitar achieved that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. Two things uh, out of that whole bit. That brilliant answer.
Oh,
First
thanks.
off, I really really love a guitar player who's using delay as part of the songwriting and not just as an effect. And what you did just there with the rhythmic delay, I absolutely adore that. So
I'm so
that's awesome.
glad.
And yeah, the guitar. I'm not. I seemed a bit more
No, no.
surprised than I probably was that you used only that guitar. But I thought maybe because you're going in all these different directions, you might be the kind of player who likes to switch as well and use some single coil or maybe some P90s here and there. So yeah, I guess that's why I
No, I
was
totally get it because
startled.
traditionally, like, yeah, I mean, on recording, single coils are the way to go, especially with layering. But the thing is,
Yeah.
with this guitar, so I would layer, like, here, I'll show you. I would layer up the neck pickup with a full tone roll, so everything would be wide open. And then if I wanted to layer something else, like I would roll the tone all the way off and go to the bridge pickup. So like, if you take those and you honk, yeah. If you take
Honk.
them and you just pan them hard left and right, it's like the coolest feeling to
Yeah.
hear different tones in your left and right ear. And a lot of
Mm,
this record, the guitar sound is based on layered stereo guitars. So that's another thing too, is I did have a mono rig before I recorded this record, and now I'm like, carrying around two 4x10 amps.
on the
So
dark
yeah,
side. Yes.
I was like, well, man, I could go mono and be easier for the load ins and load outs, but I was like, if I'm gonna go big, I should just go big and take two 4x10 open back
Right.
combo amps to shows and just own it. So yeah, I mean, left and right stereo guitars is the thing now for me.
The trade-in's worth it.
Yeah.
I like your approach to it, like creating that sort of big blanket of guitar sounds that's just going to sit over whatever you're going to put on there, vocals or bit of leads or harmonies. Totally. It's pretty cool.
Thanks.
I used to ask about the tours at the end of the interviews,
yeah.
and now I'm feeling like there's something missing.
Well, I do know it seems that a lot of festivals are coming back in the fall.
Yes.
So once once everybody gets everything moving with the vaccine and everybody can kind of get on the same page there, I think it'll come back. And I have faith because the world needs, you gotta have faith in the world needs music. And I've noticed how bland life is without it, especially for someone performing it and someone who goes to shows. Yeah. It's like, I am excited for the day when everybody can go back out and enjoy it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's about it. The guitar coming out on the 16th of March, and then my album is coming out later this year, and I'm excited to announce that later on. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, I've learned how to cook pretty well.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's about it. I mean, special announcement here. I know how to cook lemon bars. So
that is so much more than what I've done with the lockdown. Oh my God. No, that is awesome. Thank you so very much for your time. Guys, I really hope that you appreciated that video. Emily's links will be in the description box down below to the guitar, to her socials for whenever the album drops. But yeah, stay tuned. Like and subscribe and all of that stuff. Emily, thank you again so much. And hopefully catch you soon in real life.
Yes, that'd be great. I can't wait. Thanks for everything. Thanks for the interview. Really enjoyed it.